Hi, I'm Tim Carter, W3ATB, and I'm a licensed amateur radio operator here in the United States. And I've got really great news. Yesterday, I sat and passed my extra exam. And what's even more remarkable is that I got 100%. And because of that, that's why I'm taping this video. I wanted to do a review of Ham Test Online, the online study guide that I used that enabled me to not only get the 100%, but to be able to upgrade to the current privileges that I have. I want to tell you, first of all, that I have no pecuniary interest at all whatsoever in Ham Test Online. I don't know the people who own the website. I don't know the people who develop the software. I don't get any money from them. And that's a word, by the way, that you're going to discover that's a key to one of the answers in the test. So remember that, pecuniary. Anyway, here's what I want to do. For this review to make sense to you, I think you really need to hear a couple of stories because I was going to fail the extra exam had I not found out about Ham Test Online, and here's why. So years ago when I got licensed as a technician, I think it was back in 2003. Right now it's, by the way, it's February 2016, so that you can date this video in the future. I just kind of studied some papers or whatever, and I went in to sit for the exam, and I think at the time you had to get 27 right out of 35, and I think I got 29 right. But anyway, I passed, but I didn't understand anything. I didn't understand hardly any of the information that I had been tested on, back then, but I got my license. Then I kind of struggled through the hobby the first 18 months. I kind of dropped out of it, and then in 2011, I moved to New Hampshire, and I got active in the hobby again. It's kind of a long story. You don't need to know the details. But I got associated with the Central New Hampshire Amateur Radio Club, and the founder of the club, still alive, wonderful, wonderful man, Dick Christopher is his name, N1LT is his call sign, and I discovered yesterday he's had that 1x2 call sign, I think he said, since the mid-1970s, which is when he passed his extra exam. He told me yesterday, back in the old days, they had to go down to the FCC headquarters in Boston, and he sat for all elements of the exam and got them all the same day. It was an all-day thing because not only did you have to do the testing, you had to do the Morse code for the different levels as well. Anyway, so this is the true story, and this you really need to pay attention here because this is important. So let's see. I guess it was about 2 years ago. Maybe it was 3. I'd have to look it up on my license. But anyway, I was a technician. Dick Christopher called me up one day and said, "Hey Tim, it's Dick Christopher." And I hadn't talked to him that much, but I said, "Oh, hi Dick, how you doing?" And the next words out of his mouth were, Dick, what I like about Dick is that he doesn't mince words. He cuts right to the chase, So he said, "Tim, it's time for you to upgrade your license." And I responded. I said, "Oh, yeah. I've been thinking about it. I've got the book and I'm looking at it." He interrupted me and said, "No, it's time for you to upgrade your license now." And I responded, "Well, yeah, I know. I want to do it, and I'm studying the material. No." He said, "You've got to do it now." He says, "I'm not hanging up this phone until you give me a time that you're going to come and take the test." And so I said, "But I want to understand all the information." I said, "I didn't do that with the technician's test, and I just feel that I need to really understand all this stuff." No, he said. "Look," he said, "you're just going to memorize the answers. You're going to take the test. You're going to pass the test. And once you start using those privileges, then you'll understand it." So I acquiesced, and we were about 2 weeks away from a meeting at that point, and he had mentioned earlier in the call that he could gather the 3 VEs, and before our regular club meeting, I could sit for the exam. So that's what I did. I said, "Okay, can we meet before the exam?" He said, "Fine, be there at 6 o'clock. Bring your license and a check for $15. Click, and he hung up. I mean, it was over that fast. It was really a quick phone call, believe it or not. Probably lasted 60 seconds, much less time than what I just described the call. So I jumped online to qrz.com. You may be aware of that website. I use it to look up other hams, addresses, and photographs and things like that after I do a QSO with them. Anyway, they've got a practice test area. And I started using it. It keeps track of your score only, so that it throws up random questions that are in the question pool, and I just started memorizing the answer. And I probably invested at the time, I think about 8 or 10 hours over a period of 2 weeks. And I was consistently, in the last 2.5 hours of studying, of using that brute force memorization method, I was getting routinely 85, 88%. So I knew I would pass. And to make a long story short, sat for the exam. I passed and got my general. I got 33 out of the 35 questions correct. All right, so let's fast forward 2-3 years till just, the past 2 weeks. So I had decided that this winter I wanted to get my extra. I decided, okay, I'm going to try to do the same thing. So, well, the difference is that at this point in time in the year 2016, the question pool for the extra exam is not only bigger, it's almost 2 times bigger. I think 700 plus questions. The questions are much more difficult. They are not easy. And so I tried to do the same thing. I tried the brute force method of just going to qrz.com, and it wasn't working. I was just, it just didn't work. I even had purchased a copy of this book here, right here. This, you might be able to see it. This is from the ARRL, and it's got all of the question pool, and and I started going through trying to read it and highlighting the answers so I could just memorize the answer. And underneath the answers in this book, they kind of have a little explanation of what's going on in the question, so that to try to help you understand it. Well, that wasn't working. It just didn't work. So finally, a friend of mine who's in the club, who just recently had gotten his extra maybe 2 months ago, said, Tim, you need to get Ham Test Online. Ham Test Online, I used it for my technician, my general, my extra. It's unbelievable. And so I did. So I took his advice. I went. They have a free option. You can... you can try it for free, which is very smart. That pushes the psychological trigger or button of reciprocity. It's good marketing on their part. And anyway, I immediately saw that it was going to work. Here's why Ham Test Online works. Finally, we're getting to the review part. So the difference between Ham Test Online and every other method that I had been using previously is that they have built in intelligence into their system that sets cookies on your computer so that it knows who you are when you log in, and it remembers the questions that you know the answers to. That's really important, meaning once the intelligence and once their software recognizes that you absolutely know the material for, let's just say, 50% of the material, because they bring the question up, and if you answer it correctly the first time, it remembers that. And then if you answer it correctly the second time, it remembers it, and maybe the third time. And then by that time, it probably goes, you know what, this guy knows this stuff, or this girl, this woman. So it's not going to show you that anymore. Or it'll, it just waits a long time. But as you get questions wrong, it goes, oh, he needs more help, or she needs more help. So it remembers that. That's really important. But here's the real power of the software. You can set in the options an area, you can check mark a box that when it shows you the question for the first time, it will automatically highlight what the correct answer is. That's really important. And what you need to do as you look at that answer is you need to just look at that answer only. Do not let your eyes go to the other 3 choices, because it's a multiple choice test. Just look and read that answer, and then you're forced to take your mouse and click it. All right, so that really helps imprint what the correct answer of the question is. But here's really, in my opinion, the best part of this online study guide. So I told you earlier in this review, in the video, that I wanted to learn about all of this science, and I wanted to learn all about the magic of the science and the math that's behind the hobby. Well, guess what? Ham Test Online does that. So what it does is the actual exam is broken up into, I don't know, I'm just going to guess maybe 8 or 9 areas, like safety, math, propagation, just different kind of areas of what you're learning. Well, as it starts to get into each of those areas, what it does is it just takes a very small chunk of the information, puts it up on the screen, and explains it in language that you and I can understand. You don't have to be an electrical engineer to pass this exam or to understand it. And that's really key, because you can try to teach a concept in a very complex way or in just regular, ordinary, everyday language. Well, it does that. And for me, at least, it worked. It allowed me, like, wow, I really understand now what is happening here. I mean, I get it. And reading that small chunk of information and looking at some of the images that they give you to try to explain things in words that are very hard to visualize, they do that as well. That helps you really understand what's going on. And that's important. So for 2 reasons, because it helps you understand why the answer makes sense, but it also is going to help you as you use those privileges on the air. So really, 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 really a good method. Now, how much time did I spend total from not really knowing the material at all until yesterday at 1 o'clock when I left my home? I probably put in, I should have taken notes and kept track, but I'm going to guess I didn't have more than 20 to 30 hours spread out over 12 days. And so that's not a lot of time. If you're working, a 40-hour-a-week job, you'd put in about 2 hours or an hour a night, and you're going to be fine, believe me. So, and then, within 2, 3, 4 weeks, you're going to be able to sit for the exam. So, if I had a magic wand, how would I improve the software? So I have 2 suggestions for the people that created it. I don't know if it's possible. I don't know how hard it would be to do, but here's what I would suggest. Number 1, I'm sure you've seen online where you go to a website and you're reading the material, and all of a sudden I think it's called a light box, a shadow box, I don't know, but everything, there's kind of like a grayish, opaque, halfway opaque screen that, you can't see anymore what you were reading, but you just see a small area that's highlighted, and then typically it's some box to sign up for a newsletter, who knows what. So my suggestion would be when they click to get to see that first question the first time, that they shade out or make it really hard that you don't even see the 3 wrong answers, so that you really only see the correct answer. That would be, the first thing to do. That would be, the first improvement, in my opinion. The second thing to do, I think, is to just have some math hacks. I had to go online, and I got some advice from another fellow ham who told me, hey man, you need to find out about, you need to get these math hacks, because some of the math and some of the questions are, if you don't have a math mind, and I really don't, I don't care, you can look at those formulas till the cows come home, it's not going to make any sense. So there are some really interesting, at least in this current question pool, there are some really interesting hacks that you can really memorize very quickly that allow you to get the correct answer all the time, or almost 80% of the time. And so I think that they should put those hacks in the software instead of making you go out and look for them online. Maybe that's against the spirit of learning, I don't know, but unfortunately, not everybody understands algebra and calculus and all that other stuff. I know I don't. I've just never, algebra, it's like a foreign language to me. But anyway, I got them all right. I got all the, and then I just, it just was awesome. So I know this video took a lot longer than it should have. I'm sorry about that, but I'm excited, and I wanted just to share with you that you can do it. You can easily pass this extra exam. It's not that hard. And with the help of this online study guide, you're going to have your extra privileges in no time. So, and remember, you can use it for technician and for general as well. So, in fact, if you're really aggressive and you're not licensed at all, I'm here to tell you. Oh, here's what I wanted to tell you. The three VEs that were there, they couldn't believe how fast I passed the exam. It's a 50 question exam pool, and I probably I think I was done in 15 minutes. I don't think it took longer than 15 minutes at all for me to do the test. What I wanted to say, this is the most important thing, I almost forgot it. So the magic of this software is that when you do sit down for the test and you're looking at the test question there on the, in my case, I don't know if it's going to change in the future, but the actual examination paper was pink. I'm here to tell you that the answers to the questions, it's as if they jumped off the page at me. I know that sounds hard to imagine and hard to believe. I would look down, I would immediately see the correct answer. In other words, I knew that, okay, it's C or it's D or whatever it is. Because remember, the answers get jumbled up in the order. They do that on purpose. So you can't ever go and think, well, the answer to that question is always going to be C. That's not how it works. The FCC, they jumble where the position of the correct answer. So don't try to memorize the position of the answer. You actually have to learn the real answer. Anyway, I'm just here to tell you the answers jumped off the page. It's just like, it's as if they were highlighted in bold. It's as if they were a different color, but they weren't. It's just that you recognized them that rapidly. And I'm here to tell you, I was stunned. I mean, as I'm running down through this 50 question test, I'm going like, I got that one right, I got that one right, I got that one. There was only one question that I was a little like, I kind of had to guess, but I guessed right. And I got 100. So I'm pretty proud of it. You're going to love it. Ham Test Online. Remember, I didn't get a penny to make this video. I'm investing an hour or two to do it. I think it's worth it, not for them. Good luck for them. I'm happy that their business will succeed. But I made the video for you because I want you to have the confidence going into the exam that you're going to pass, and then you're going to be able to enjoy the hobby even more. So I'm Tim Carter, W3ATB/AE. Have a great day.